I'm going to show you some of my favorite ways to use the Alpha Ball from Yoga Tune-Up Balls series. She has a bunch of videos and balls, and she has some great techniques, but I want to show you how I like to use it because it can feel overwhelming sometimes, the amount of ways she has to roll. So first we're going to roll out kind of the upper body. We're going to start on the floor and we're going to lay down and we're going to roll out this upper part of our neck where things attach a lot, and that can really affect the rest of our spine feeling fluid. So we're going to place the ball at this area we call the occipital. So if you feel, maybe feel it with your fingers first. You feel your skull has kind of this curved bottom part, and the spinal column is coming up into that, so you'll feel kind of like a little hole notch area. We're going to kind of massage along the base of the skull basically, and maybe a little bit lower than that. So laying down, let's start with it right in the middle of that area that I'm talking about. Not too low that you feel any kind of pressure or uncomfortable pressure on your spine. And then if your hair is slippery, or just depending on how you're comfortable, you can hold the ball at first and just start to roll side to side, just kind of exploring what that feels like. I'm going to move my hands so you can see what I'm doing, but if the ball is sliding too much, you might want to hold it at first so it doesn't go too low. But try to, again, like I said, feel the base of that curve of the spine. We're just kind of tracing right on the border there. You don't want to be too high up or too low that you don't feel the edge of that skull. And then start to challenge it. Try to go a little bit farther over to one side. Use your eyes, because a lot of these connections can affect our cranial nerves, our eyes. So mine slips a little when I go that way. So I kind of have to just reset it. Since I have short hair, it's maybe even harder to kind of get it out of the way. But if you have hair you can want to pull up, that might help. And I feel some clicking here. Oh, a little rolling of some ligaments and tendons, and that's all good. But just a reminder, as we're rolling out, we want to make sure that we feel comfortable. These balls can feel kind of hard, and we want to invite a sense of being able to relax into them. And if it feels like your body is not able to relax, you might want something softer. So let's stay on one side and just go slightly kind of back and forth along just that one outer edge. Just kind of playing around, seeing what feels comfortable. Allowing your body to relax, breathing. And then sometimes you can try to go a little lower. If you do feel kind of those like stringy parts, you might want to stay on those little stringy kind of clicky parts. Like I feel as I come closer to my spine, my muscles are kind of tight there right now, so they feel like little guitar strings. So I'm going to kind of stay there. So I'm wherever you find a spot that is a little bit more resistant, a little bit tighter, you want to just hold it there and breathe and let your breath help you relax. You can also do little circular motions. Imagine your nose is like drawing little circles. And it really sometimes takes the body a second to be able to relax. But even a little bit of doing this helps. And then maybe come higher up on that. You can really play around, like higher up on the edge, a little bit lower. There's some neck muscles there, a lot of attachments happening there. I'm gonna move to the other side. I feel like that side relaxed a little. So same thing, just kind of explore the other side if you're just got there. See how it feels different. My left side feels quite different than my right. It kind of feels like almost less sensation, but in that way it feels tighter to me. Like it doesn't relax with the ball. It doesn't let me go deeper. It kind of stays at the surface level. So I'm going to put a little more pressure on this side because I feel like my body responds to that. I'm going to push my head a little bit into the ball. And then again, if you find a spot, either just let yourself relax if that's what your body is wanting, or actively kind of push and do really small kind of shearing motions as you press
That's what feels good for me on the left, is kind of pushing a little bit into it and doing really small ranges, like I'm kind of breaking up. The fascia can get kind of stuck. I know there's some techniques, and I'm moving to different parts and can continue that. There's different techniques where kind of a slow, long pressure into the fascia, but like a direct push helps break up some of those old sticky spots. And then some techniques where you really sit there for like a good 5 minutes into the certain spot that needs it. So if that's what you're feeling your body needs, just let your body relax. And you'll feel a shift when your body is finally able to let go. You'll feel that release. So for me, the left side felt like that harder push felt good, but also this long pause of just pressure feels really good. But yeah, wherever you're at, try something different if you're not at the same place as me. But maybe give yourself just as much time as I'm giving myself, because we are pretty tight up there. Then when you feel like you did both sides, go back all the way across from side to side again and see if it feels, maybe you're more aware of the difference now, maybe it feels more even. Stay in the middle, a little bit higher up, and do small back and forth up there. And then a little bit lower than that, and a small back and forth up there. And a little bit lower even. I close my eyes on this part because I do feel like I'm getting into some of those nerve connections of the eyes. So it kind of helps me just relax my eyeballs. And up higher, my right is tighter up higher. My left is tighter down lower. So it's nice to just notice the difference. Keep it in the back of your mind for everything else you're doing. All right, maybe just let your head drop on the floor for a second. It feels almost like it's just sinking into the floor. Relax your eyeballs and feel all that blood. If anything, you just brought a lot of rushing of blood so that your body can heal whatever's up there, whatever stagnation is there. The blood is now rushing there and helping rebuild and nourish that area. Then we're gonna roll to the side and come up. For this next part, we're gonna go to the wall. It feels really good to go against the wall. So let's meet up by a wall. So I'm gonna use this door because I don't have a ton of wall space that's open with plants and art. This door works just as fine. We're gonna now go along the collarbone, under the collarbone here. There's those big pec muscles that get tight. It's nice to do it with her balls, especially on your skin if you can, because it does kind of pull this outer fascial layer as well. So you're gonna turn, we're just gonna go right under the collarbone, and you're going to place the ball there, and then just move yourself side to side. So you can bend your knees, you get low, and you find that space right below your collarbone. Notice how tight it feels. Notice what your body's doing. Is it able to relax, put less pressure? Again, so here you can push yourself into the ball more if you want a little bit more pressure. But if it's like your body is not able to relax into the pressure, it's not really necessarily helpful. So you want to assess what's the right amount of pressure here. Then we have in the corner here, we have something called the pec minor. It's like these small little parts like, under the big pec, and it kind of comes down like little fingers like this, attaches to a little part of the shoulder blade that kind of sticks out called the coracoid process. And so we're going to kind of imagine this area, this little kind of nugget here, and that we're going to hang out there and maybe just do little circles at first to kind of explore that area and try to get in touch with that image of the muscle I gave you. How it's coming down like these little hands, these little fingers. And so then you can kind of go up and down. If you can sense, you'll probably feel it's tight. It's tight on most of us there because our shoulders are so rolled in, but this will help with that. If you do have kind of a rolled in shoulder, this will help open you up. Yeah, so just circling up and down, and then same idea like before. Put a little bit of pressure into it. So you can lean your body in a little bit of a diagonal if that helps you. Do small little shearing back and forth with pressure. It's always good to go with the direction of the fibers. So if you can imagine what I showed you, those fibers are moving kind of on that diagonal up and down. So maybe do a little shearing. Although I think they say both going with fibers and against the fibers has different techniques. So maybe let's try a couple of both. We're not being super specific, right? This is kind of a general rollout that's still going to be helpful. Bring blood there. Spend enough time there that things will release. But obviously work with a professional if you really want to be super specific. They're going to be able, everybody's body's so different that you might need that one-on-one eye of a manual therapist. Then let's try the other side. Just across under that collarbone first. Assessing the area, allowing your body to soften to the pressure, whatever you feel ready for. And then find that little nugget of the pec minor. And again, just assess. I like to do little circles in there just to kind of help me figure out what's going on. And obviously you might have breast tissue, so be gentle. There's a lot of lymph nodes in this area too, so just be aware that you don't want to push too hard too quickly. You want to allow it to start to soften gradually, and then put some pressure into specific areas. Work a little shearing back and forth as you let the pressure push into that tightness gradually. Try to fight going along the fibers, up and down. And again, my left is a lot tighter here. It doesn't kind of like give as quickly. It takes a little more time. Like I need to like really let myself relax into it. It's harder to just sense where the tightness is even. It just feels like general kind of clumped togetherness. And that's what doing something like this helps with, is if you feel like everything's kind of clumped together and you can't really separate what one muscle sensation feels like versus another. All right, now another good one to do, another easy one to do. I'll move you back a little bit. Now, another easy one to do while you're still at the wall is this lat area. This kind of back of the armpit now, this back and side of the armpit. So you're gonna put it just there like I described. And we're gonna just kind of explore again, side to side maybe first. Right where the armpit crease is. So again, not too low. There's some meatiness there. You see maybe people who use those muscles a lot, like swimmers or certain athletes, it kind of sticks out a little bit even there more, even if yours doesn't. Nice to visualize what we're after. And then try going kind of like up and down a little bit more towards the back of that. So I'm kind of not facing straight side, turned a little bit. And again, pushing pressure. If you feel a spot, stay there, do small little shearing. You can go lower and kind of go side to side as well. So I'm going to go lower and go across. And keep moving it if it's falling. Then we're going to come lower. I'm not going to go right on the ribs here, but we're going to kind of go into that QL area, we call it, your quadratus lumborum. And again, if you want to put it more on your skin, try that. And you're going to go across that area, just assessing the territory first. So I'm just right at the bottom of the rib, between the bottom ribs and the top of the pelvis. And I have a small waist, so for me, it's really just that little area. If you have a long waist, you might need to be lower than I am. You just want to be right at the top of the pelvis. Then kind of stay closer to your spine. Ooh, this one can feel kind of intense. So again, just whatever pressure you feel ready for.
Take some deep breaths and feel your back. Kind of relaxing into it. And then let's go up and down. And then try to go a little deeper in there. Right into the spine. You'll feel the spot probably. I think we're all a little bit tender there. Straighten my legs even, and I'm kind of leaning my back into it. And she has a couple techniques you can do where you like twist the ball. So if it is on your skin, you kind of like twist it and then maybe hold it for a breath. So it's like kind of like the outer fascia. You're trying to like wring it out with a twist of the ball, and hopefully the ball is sticky enough that it kind of pulls like a spiral feeling up the fascia. So you can kind of twist. I think she calls it like pin and stretch. So pin it, stretch it, and then kind of pull that like spiral feeling. And then you can like redo it, like you're trying to spiral the skin and the fascia is trying to twist. It feels kind of good, like a wringing out. That side again. My whole left side is a little bit tighter than my right. Let's try the other side. So same idea. Gonna get into that area there. And I like to go, we're gonna start at the lats first. So let's try the other side at the lats. So right here again, starting a little higher up, get down into those knees. Go side to side, go up and down, and then go a little lower. Sometimes a little bit lower is where it's really tender, and I feel kind of that guitar string on this side. Oof. So I know my right lat, left QL, and there's a lot of relationships between those and even down into the hips, these diagonals. So you can just keep making all these little check marks in your body. Without judgment, you know, even just like I said, these general rollouts might not give you all the relief, right? It takes a little bit more back and forth, releasing, activating, but even just a general rollout, it's gonna set you up really great for then moving later. Do some circles there too. It's really kind of just playing around with it, staying in a spot if you need it. And then let's come down to that QL. If you can get on the skin on that one too, and kind of go across. Not too much in the front. We don't want to get on those organs too much. Yeah, and each side is going to need something different. Sometimes it just needs a general wake up, and sometimes one side might need a little bit more of that time and releasing quality. So you really have to just kind of listen to your body, which you're probably better at than you think. And then again, I'm leaning into it. And add a little bit of that twisting, like you're just trying to turn and then hold. Okay, and you can do it like you just turn the ball and pull some of that fascia and then just kind of let it, with pressure, kind of hold. You might not feel too much of a difference, but that still is really changing the quality with that twist. All right, whew, feels good. Let's go back to the floor. We're gonna roll out the butt and the quads a little bit. All right, so this is always a favorite one, piriformis, or kind of just, again, whatever this, there's a lot of other stuff in there that might need some help. So like a general assessing first, we're going to just put it under one butt cheek. You're gonna put your hands back. You're gonna just assess, try to come all the way up to the inner part of the sacrum, all the way to the outer border, and then kind of around. And you can do zigzags back and forth, but just kind of do the whole general area first, down to the top of, down to the bottom of the pelvis, through the middle to the top, zigzags at first,
I just like to assess. I like to wake it up first before I get really specific and put more pressure. Then we're gonna go from, we have this bony part of our hip that sticks out. So you're gonna kind of go from that bony part of the hip across to the sacrum. So it's like a little bit like a diagonal, and then back across. And this is kind of, the piriformis is one of the muscles that does that, but there's 5 others that are kind of crossing that area. So you can try to go a little lower in that diagonal. 2, there's some muscles there. And then, like before, if you find a spot, sometimes it's more in the middle of the pelvis, and you can stay there and you can let your knee open a little so you're really relaxed. It might be hard to hold it in one spot, so you can do little shearing back and forth, maybe staying on the direction of those fibers. Again, not in a painful way where you can't relax. If you feel your body fighting this too much, you might want something softer for this area. So maybe like a blown up a ball with air that's firm. Still does a lot of wonders. They make foam roller balls. I've used those sometimes too. And then for me, I like to come up along that border of my sacrum, along the inner border to the top of the glute, to the outside. Then kind of hang out on the side of that upper glute. Gluteus medius it's called. So I'm kind of back, side to side up there. And then again, maybe find a place down in the middle. And I love the way that Jill Miller, who makes these balls and has this whole method, she talks about like fluffing up this area. So it's like hydrating it, fluffing it up, like the blood flow, the flow of nutrients that just come from just even this general rolling. So as you sit, oh, my butt cheek just feels wider and more open. So if you struggle with letting go of that area, like if you're a tucker, you can be pretty kind of locked in that area, and it affects your hip motion. So doing this is great for that. Let's try the other side. I'll turn around so you can see what I'm doing again. Lean back, general sweeping circular along the inner border, upper border, all around. And my left side, again, it kind of is a little harder to relax. Like the right felt tight and it was intense, but something about the left is just, my body's just kind of like not able to fully relax. It just feels like it's almost like never been touched before, you know, like when you touch somebody or when somebody gets a massage for the first time, if they've never had that, if that sensation is new to them. And I feel like my left is just not used to this pressure, this, for whatever reason. That's what it feels like. Go from the outer hip bone, it's called your greater trochanter, across to your sacrum, like a diagonal. Noticing any bumpy, tendony things, go a little bit lower. Ooh, for me, that lower part is tighter, so I'm gonna hang out in that lower part and let my knee open. And those little muscles there, like your obturator internus, externus it's called, your gemellus, they're kind of affecting what's going on in the pelvic floor too, because of their attachments so close to that area. That tightness there can also affect pelvic health and hip glide. So letting them release again. And then after we do this little series, I encourage you to do some sort of movement after, some sort of, even if it's just walking, maybe something where you're using different muscles. It gives you an opportunity after you release these tight spots. You want to reprogram. So you don't necessarily just want to get back and sit in your chair after this. It's not going to have the same benefit. And then again, I'm going to go to that upper part there. Whew, this part again does not let me relax as much. So I'm going to go super slow and less pressure. Really using myself with my arms to not drop too much pressure that I'm not ready for. And then yeah, I think I could probably spend a lot more time with my left, just kind of exploring new places that I could eventually relax in, maybe even try it with a softer ball. But notice already, even just that little bit, whew, they're so wide. Now, another part of us that's not so happy doing this, again, if it's too much, we're gonna try the quads a little. Not a part that lets go easily. So you're gonna put it down. You're gonna use your other leg like an army crawl position. So it's knee out to the side, and then arms in army crawl. And again, just assess the area up and down that middle part of the quad. And then go up and down like with internal rotation of the leg bone, external rotation. Rocking your body. Use your foot too if you need to kind of give you a little push off. And then stay more in the middle. And if that's enough, just see if your body can relax. Again, push yourself up against, away from the floor if you need less pressure. If you feel like you can relax more, go for it. And then go back to a rocking. Find another spot that you can release into. Maybe a tiny bit lower than that, but still kind of in the middle. And that's good. Yeah, that one you can be more specific in, but kind of nice to just do that much even. And then same thing, just like a general stroke of that up and down. Turning the leg inward. That's a little harder. Turning the leg outward. You don't have to go super low. I'm not like going all the way to my knee, just kind of however much I can with my elbows here. And then stay in the middle. Whatever pressure you're ready for. Use your arms if you need less pressure. Relax into your arms if you want a little bit more. Move it back up and down again. Find a little bit lower spot maybe, or maybe more towards the outside or the inside, and just relax. And relax. Awesome. So those were just some of my favorites that you can do with, again, Alpha Ball in the Yoga Tune-Up series, Tune-Up Fitness. Some really great things. I feel really ready to try some moving now, so encourage you, again, do it as often as you can, at least once a week, once a month, whatever you can do. Enjoy.